Hi, Pete Warden here from Next Level Wealth. Thankfully back home in Noosa today. You can hear the crickets. Now I'm down in Brisbane tomorrow to do a couple of house inspections, and I get asked all the time, if we're going to invest in Queensland property, what strategy should I go for? Now there are four that I'm going to talk about today that you can have a think about. The first and the most simple approach is simply to buy and hold. So if you're looking at an apartment or townhouse, you've got to remember in Brisbane the scarce commodity is the land. So you'll be looking at supply constrained areas, places like New Farm or Tenerife or potentially maybe Newmarket, and try to find something with a point of scarcity. If you're going to buy a house and the budget allows, you might look for something a bit more modern, so you get the depreciation benefits for a long period of time, and maybe a low set brick house, something good connectivity, so train links to the city, good school zones, and as always in Brisbane, flood free. Now, a second approach, and one that got really popular around 2014, was to buy these post-war homes on the 24 perch blocks in the old money, so 607 square metres, that were zoned LMR, meaning low medium residential housing. So the benefit of that was that you could buy these post-war homes, land bank them for the future, and then at some point develop into 4 townhouses, site coverage permitting. Now, the benefit of that approach is you've got the extra dimension, but it would be fair to say that that part of the housing market in Brisbane got quite oversupplied. A lot of construction of high-rise towers, largely funded by Chinese investors. And you've got to remember too that if you buy that type of property, it's not just your house that's zoned LMR, it's very often the full strip or maybe the whole street or even half a suburb. And while the new supply can bring new demographics, which is great, the extra supply brings construction and disruption, and the extra supply can also act as a suppressant on rental price growth. So it's become a bit less popular since 3 or 4 years ago. Since that time, much more popular has become the approach to buy splitter blocks. So these are the 810 or 32 perch blocks, very often on 2 lots already in Brisbane. So you can either remove the existing home and sell it, very Queensland idea for you, potentially move the home across and build a second, or even remove and demolish for post-war housing and actually add 2 cookie cutter 4-bedroom homes on the block. Really good strategy if you can get the right block, but hard to find the margins these days because there's a lot of competition for that style of property. And fourth and finally, and often the best on a risk-adjusted basis, is to find a Queenslander style property, but one that's got potential to improve in some way down the track or develop. So in Queensland, it's quite common to be able to raise up that style of property and develop underneath and turn it into an executive style home. Now this is really popular if you can get into the right school zones, and it gives you that extra dimension. So those are 4 strategies for you to think about. And as always in Brisbane, a couple of extra things to remember. Always look flood free, so check the flood maps, and always keep an eye out for termites or white ants. So make your offers always subject to a satisfactory building and pest inspection, and in the current environment, probably smart to make your offers subject to finance as well within 14 days, just so you've got all bases covered. So those are 4 strategies for you to think about. If you want to know a bit more, check out my website below. Go nextlevelwealth.com.au. Cheers.